Welcome back to my channel, and in this video today I'm going to be going through why simply having an Instagram page isn't enough anymore, and how someone in your audience, someone who's thinking about working with you, needs to have consumed 7 hours of your stuff over 11 different touch points in 4 different locations. That sounds like a lot, right? But hopefully by the end of this video, once we break it down, you can see what you already have in place and what you might need to add in. Now this comes down to a principle known as the 7-11-4 principle. You might have heard of this. People started to talk about this a little bit more now. It's actually off the back of a study that Google did called the Zero Moment of Truth study. And this is where they looked at biopsychology and biobehavior and how many touch points people need before they actually make a decision and reach out and do something. So the 7 is the amount of hours that someone needs before they decide that you might be the right person. So they need to consume about 7 hours of content. 11 is the touch points, right? So how many touch points do they have with you across various channels? And 4 is the locations, right? So what locations can they go and consume certain content in? Once they've done this, then there's more chance of them then reaching out and saying, yeah, I want to work with you, I want to sign up, can you help me? Okay. How does that sound to you right now in terms of if you just have an Instagram page? Imagine how many reels you'd need to film to fill 7 hours, right? It's going to be a lot. We're talking hundreds, if not thousands, okay? So with that in mind, we're going to break down why this is a principle that is backed with science, but also something built off the back of the Zero Moment of Truth study. Zero Moment of Truth, by the way, is where if you can imagine yourself when you were little, or even now to be honest, and you're going out shopping and you would go to, you see something in the shop window, let's say it's a pair of trainers. So like the first moment of truth is seeing the trainers, right? So you're like, oh, I need them, or I like them. The second moment of truth is when you buy the trainers. So you've now made the decision to buy the trainers. And the third moment of truth is when you actually have those trainers on and you're wearing them out and about, right? And okay, you get the reactions. So that's what used to be the standard procedure. If anyone's old enough to remember the Argos catalogue, that was the same thing, right? Now, the zero moment of truth is before that happens, people can go away and they can evaluate and they can explore different options because we have this thing called the internet now. So what happens now is where this 7-11-4 principle fits in. Before, it used to be this like lovely sort of funnel that people would go into, right? And it'd be this linear process. Just come through the funnel and then everything was nice. Now, not so much, right? In this middle part, it looks like this. And that is known as the messy middle. Ooh. So this is the latest study from Google where they've worked out that biobehavior now has completely changed the game. Because most people in this space here, they are exploring their options and they are evaluating. So what they're doing at this point here is they're bouncing around between Instagram, emails, YouTube, webinars, podcasts, referrals, like stuff that their friends have sent them, you know. There are all these things going on. So the whole goal shifted. It's not just to be seen, it's, you know, you need to build trust over time, right? And for coaching, which is a high trust industry, it takes repeated valuable exposure before people will invest in you. So again, you can see my point about just an Instagram page isn't enough anymore. But you know, these things are good because we know that we can do things with it, all right? So let's break down what this looks like in terms of the real world. So in regards to like the 7 hours, let's call this the value bank if you want. And what we're going to do is we're going to keep building this up in here. So that's your value bank, the 7 hours that we need to build up, and this is where each time we're posting in there, we're filling up the bank. Okay, so that might be your weekly emails. Okay, so say for example each of those weekly emails is 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, if you're building that up over time, you can quite easily see how we can get to even an hour could be consumed there. For example, right, say you'd had like weekly emails were, let me write this down on here, so they were maybe like so they were 5 minutes and you had like 12, that's 1 hour. Okay, and then you've got your YouTube videos or podcasts, say they are 30 minutes each, for example, and for example, if you did like 1 or 2 a week, then you're suddenly starting to get into realms of like, okay, there's the hour that was coming from email, and then the YouTube videos, podcast could be like another hour. So we've got live trainings as well, which we could do. Again, all this goes into it. So live trainings, case studies, deep dives, interviews. The key here is the time must be meaningful, right? So again, this takes me back to the Instagram thing. How much of the content on there is actually meaningful, is actually got depth to it, that isn't just gone in a few seconds. So try and think about this when we're building out the 7 hours. So that's your value bank, right? Next, when we go into this, we want to think about the touch points. So the 11 touch points, right, on here are going to be not as hard to build up as what you might think. So 11 touch points. This might be, so like you might have DMs in here, we might have emails, we might have posts on socials, we might have webinars like we talk about, we might have podcasts, comments, replies, you might have interactions in real life, everything like this. Every interaction counts, by the way. So watching a reel, opening your email, DM conversation, attending a live Q&A, downloading a free resource, whatever it is, it all matters. What I would say is, don't panic if someone doesn't buy after they've just had 3 touch points. Don't even panic if they've been over all 11 touch points and don't do it. This is just to look at some of the science behind this. And what it does is it gives us a framework to then go, okay, we know that this is what people are needing before they make a decision. How do we apply that to our business? How do we put that into our world? Because it should be, hopefully, if you haven't got some of this in place already, it should hopefully be starting to get your cogs going around, okay, I probably need to set up an email list. I probably need to start doing a podcast, YouTube, whatever it is, right? Start thinking about what's the next thing you can do. Try to break it down. Don't just think I need to do everything at once. Just think about what the next thing is, right? Okay, so then we move into the 4 locations, right? So this is where you could think about this as, let's say, for example, we've got 4 different circles, and then each one of these is going to be a different location. So for example, here, let's just pull the black back, and if we go into here and we look for, I don't know, we've got website, maybe we've got social media, maybe we've got email, and we've got like YouTube, for example. There you go, there's your 4 locations. The reason I put social media here is most people, if you've got Instagram and Facebook, just post the same stuff on there. Quite an easy way to get into this is try to start thinking about your content, how it applies to each platform. So content you post on Instagram should realistically be different to the content posted on Facebook. It doesn't have to be completely revamped, but think about it in a different way. The way you position it, maybe the style of content that's put on there as well. And within this part, every part of this is geared around you to stop becoming like this one platform wonder, or whatever you want to call it, right? Those days are gone now, right? It's very difficult to do that now and just rely on a social media platform for success. So one thing we can look at here is you could have Instagram, which is where people could discover you, okay? Great platform for that. It still is a good platform for discovery. And then the email is where you could start to then nurture people a little bit more in your email list. So from Instagram, grab attention, take them away from the noise, put them into emails where we can nurture them. And then you could then take them from there into podcast or into YouTube, right? This is exactly what happens in this process, right? They come from Instagram into email, into YouTube, or they might come from Instagram directly into YouTube, right? But some way they're going to find their way into something else. And then we've got the website as well. The website is where you're going to showcase the other things you do, the offers, the proof is on the website as well. And that way we've covered all 4 locations, and we've got enough content to be able to really dig into the 7 hours and obviously the 11 touch points as well. So it's just something to start thinking about when you want to start doing this stuff. Is don't try and just smash it all at once, but just think about what's the next logical thing for you to add in, what makes it easier for your life as well. I firmly believe that everyone out there should have an email list and should be using it regularly, because it just gives you the hub for you to then shift people from one place to another as well. It's a great tool to have. So let me go through and run a little bit of a checklist so we've got clear on this. So what we want to do first is audit your content to make sure it's in line with what you do, obviously, but do you have 7 hours of value out there? And when I talk about this, in long form content, so is there 7 hours available? for someone to go and find today? Could someone go and consume 7 hours of your content? Because if you come to me, you could go to my YouTube podcast, be on my email list, go on the website. There's 7 hours of content. I know there is. Okay. Can you then list your touch points? Can you list how many there are? So is there 11 different ones? Can you go and do that, right? And just figure out, okay, which ones do I need to add in? Can you map out your platforms as well? So let's map out platforms. Are there enough for you to be able to have 4 locations, right? Think about that, right? And then after you've done that, you can build a system to plan out how someone new to your world could reach all 3 requirements within the next 30 to 60 days. That's definitely doable, by the way, but it's just doing this bit first. Go away and audit yourself, and then you can figure out where the gaps are. You can go from there. So for example, like as a little bit of a roadmap, if you want to call it that, you might have someone come from Instagram, Reel. You might see the Reel, for example. And then from here, we then take them through to a podcast episode. So right now we've got 2 touch points going on there. And then from that podcast, they might go to your email list because it's linked in the podcast. They might sign up to the email list. From there, they might sign up to go to a workshop. Okay, so there's more content there. And then they might even have sent you a DM at that point, another touch point. And then from there, they might have then gone onto your website because they're like, oh, this is interesting. So I'm going to go onto the website. And then from there, they might then join, they might then do a download, like a free download or whatever it is, right? So that's a download. They've done that. And then they might go into, maybe they sign up for another workshop you do, because that definitely happens. Or an in-person day, maybe they come to that. Then maybe they reply to a story on Instagram. So all of a sudden we're back to here, right? And then maybe again, they're like, oh, there's an email that I've just read that I've replied to. So they reply to that. Or maybe they get an email. And then all of a sudden, there's a call that they book in. So that in itself is like, you can see how much is involved in it. But actually when you break it down, you have to have like, it's not crazy. It just feels like a lot if you do it like this. But if you've got a lot of these things in place already, you can start to make them work harder for you. Also, once you break it down on that, technically this has only had, so podcast workshops that are done live, and then your Instagram page and your email. And the email, like I say, is the thing that becomes the hub, right? So think about it. It's not about spamming people with this stuff. It's not about just hammering as much as possible, because that doesn't work either. But it's about giving them enough value in the different places that you're in so they can feel confident in making a decision. Is this a good fit for me? And obviously for you as well. And if you start to build your marketing like with this stuff in mind, you stop feeling like you're guessing when someone's ready to work with you, and you can just take someone's trust, and you can almost predict when someone's going to then reach out. Like we see it in the tags that we've got in our email system. I can notice it now. I've been doing this so long that I can feel when someone is sort of moving closer as well, because they might start interacting a little bit more, send more messages and interacting more content. You can see it, right? And it happens. So what I would say is, if you're feeling stuck with this or you don't really know where to start with it, what I have done is created for you a 7-11-4 coach audit. So what you can do with this is basically a tool that you can access. The link is in the description. You go onto it, and it will then help you to figure out where you are now. It will ask a few questions, figure out where you are now, and then it will give you a roadmap for the things that you can then build to get to the stage where you've satisfied the 7-11-4 principle. So please use it. It's got a lot of data-backed research in there, and the way that we've built it out, the frameworks we've added to it, is all based upon research that I've looked at. The research that we've pulled from the Google studies as well is in there. So everything's built around trying to make this process as simple and as streamlined for you as coaches to apply. It can feel a little bit overwhelming, but once you then break down and you know where the gaps are, it's easy to then plug those. And then it's just a case of doing it, which sometimes is a different problem, right? So please go and have a look at it. If you found this video useful, I'd love your feedback. Please give me a thumbs up or whatever you do on here, or comment, even tell me what you found useful. Tell me what parts that you're going to start applying. And if you use the tool as well, please send me a message on here or on Instagram, wherever, just to let me know how you found it and what you're going to be doing from that. And I will see you in the next one.